Cake Radio, it's Taste Nate. We over here with Tai the 13th. We sitting down, celebrating a little bit for the release of our first LP together, Chante Ishta. So we're going to talk a little bit about the project and a little bit about the concept and the process for an artist and stuff. So yeah, let's get into it, man. So yeah, good shit, dude. I'm glad
Here.
glad you followed through with this. One of my wild experiments, you know. That's
Yeah.
another one. Yeah,
Another
that's
one.
another one, man. Yeah, it's a good follow up to the other project that we did, and so
Yeah.
yeah, just
So
it's always magical when things come together like this, you know.
let's talk about the first one because that kind of led us to where we're at now, right?
Yeah, so during the like pandemic, we started working on some tracks. Um, our project was called Zero Point Visions, and I think that was just for me that was just like a time to just release everything, just to kind of, and I feel like the beats were super spacey, trippy, and allowed me to just get into that pocket. And then, yeah, I guess the that kind of led to this experiment as well. So, but yeah, Zero Point Visions, that's a classic. You got to check that out if you haven't yet. And then, yeah, that's pretty much that's how we got here.
So would you say that Zero Point Visions is the prequel to Chante Ishta?
I mean, there's if you want to think about the concept of the album, no, but like as far as working with you, yes, it was the prequel.
Okay.
And then I kind of like sometimes like certain concepts they come to me and I like like I get through them and then but I haven't really learned the lessons of them, so I'll come back and I'll do research on certain ideas. So when I was looking up research on zero point energy, zero point just that idea, I came across this, one of this new age philosophy cats, Greg Braden, and then he introduced the idea of Chante Ishta, which means the single eye of the heart, and through that space, there's no judgment. And I thought that was like, I don't know, things just once an idea comes to me and I start getting inspired, like the music just follows with that, you know. So that's kind of I just kind of follow through with that.
Okay.
But then I think when I think about just like the word Shanta Ishta and like how it comes from, indigenous culture. And I've been kind of like exploring concepts on those like American Indian concepts like for a while now, ever since I did the Black Ghost tape in 2015. And
Okay.
then one of my first projects, Colibri,
Right.
which
Dope
was getting
project.
back to the basics. Then I had Project Inniskim, and that's
Okay.
another
The
like.
Buffalo.
So it's like those. I don't know, just these ideas. They're like floating around. It's like a. I don't know. They're like structures that are floating around, and we have the ability to pick up on them. You know what I mean? And that's kind of what's happening for me. And then when I get into that like space, I it just happens. Like it's just like okay, you're stuck on this concept until you finish it, and then you move on. So I think this album is probably the apex for that. Like this is like okay, you've been going through this little like ride, and this is like the top, and then it's gonna be maybe like one or two more that have a similar like intention behind it, and then I'll move it on to something else, hopefully.
So real quick for people that don't know, maybe break down the title. Like, what does that mean? Chante Ishta.
So yeah, that's basically Shanta Ishta. It means the single eye of the heart, and I thought that was a dope idea and symbolism that you could use in general. And then the meaning was that through the eye of your heart, there is no judgment, and that even though we are going through like tumultuous times, we have political problems, we have our emotional trauma that we're working through. we have a chance to thrive in any space when we see through our heart. But then that ended up being more of a self examination for me because how am I going to practice non judgment when I still have all this stuff that I'm working on? You know, it's kind of like, how do you feel like about that? You know, can you can you really be that person that's not judging if you're not looking at the ways that you are? And so in this album, I think it's not just one side where it's like, okay, we're practicing non-judgment and loving and caring for and compassion. We're also looking at the places where I'm actually, you know, being more judgmental, being more, you know, that's how I'm working through it. So it's not just one space of it. It's like a whole ride. That's why I feel like this project is. It's not like some of the beats are crazy, like very, you know, like high vibrational shit. But then there's
Yeah,
also some more raw shit on there, you know.
it's a pretty good mix, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of which, is the song "Eye of the Heart," right? So Chante Ishta is the eye of the heart, the single eye of the heart, and this song goes into offsides, being like, is your heart offside? So why don't you talk about that? Like, what does it mean? What does this song mean to you, and what does it mean to have your heart offsides?
So I think we always get caught in these places where we have to choose one side or another. We live in a polarized state that we're always we're always posed to against each other. And you know, I'm sure like we always have to make choices on a personal level, but I think sometimes when we are choosing our mind or choosing our ego and not our heart, then we get pulled off sides. You know, that's kind of, and then when we start looking through our heart, we can find that balance that we were seeking out. You know, so that's kind of what that song's about.
Okay, okay, okay. And so how does that theme carry out throughout the whole project? How do you feel like, what is this? Why did you choose these songs? Because you got a lot of songs, right? And you could choose any songs to kind of put together. Even with me, we probably have extra songs that didn't make the project, right? So why did you choose these particular songs to group together?
I think what it comes down to is like um, I kind of have I have an idea and a concept, and then then the beats will like find their way to be involved on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think with you, you kind of have like you're not you have like a certain amount of beats. You're not like giving out a crazy amount of beats, or I'm like overwhelmed and I don't know what to do with them, and I'm making random songs. So
Okay.
the beats that I have, I'm like, okay, goes with this goes with that,
Okay.
and it kind of all started from that one song, really. Please delete me, and the other song, Journey Beyond, and those are the first song and the last song on the project. So those were like the first couple that we made for this project, really.
Those were the first two songs made for
Yeah,
the project.
yeah,
Oh, I didn't even really realize
yeah.
that.
Those were the first two songs, and then we had Offsides, added that, and then you know some of the other beats came in later. Whether or not those were the ones that you had made for this project or not, they came in a little bit later. So
Well,
yeah,
I know, what was it? Disclosure, which is the second song
yeah,
on the project. I for sure made that here with you.
oh yeah.
And the whole process of the song, I know, we did drum hell day over here. It took,
Disclosure, and then there was
there's
remote
Ian,
view, remote
yeah,
view.
remote view too. Or maybe I'm talking about remote view. I don't know. Both of those beats, though, in particular, have been,
Yeah, remote view
you
was the
know,
one that you're probably thinking of because
right,
we redid the drums
right.
like three times, and then Disclosure we had a few sessions because we had Ian come play guitar, and that's something that I've been trying to get more involved in with some of my projects is like having some live elements on the
Right, right.
beats and stuff like that just to give it a more
It gave it a lot of
vibe.
life. Ian, shout out to Ian.
Yeah, shout out to Ian.
Yeah,
What's up? Eye candy.
nice and fresh. Um,
Yeah, salud, salud. Thanks for
Yeah,
being a part of it. Yes, sir.
came out amazing. It like really finished the song
Yeah.
in that instance. The guitar on Disclosure, right?
So Disclosure is kind of a funny song because it's like you are on seek you're on this like path of finding yourself, self discovery, and then at some point you become an alien to the rest of the world and stuff. And we get kind of tricked into thinking that we're not from here, we don't belong here, like as like creative weirdo people and shit. And so that's now as an artist, you're having to put yourself in the spotlight. You're not like you're not able to like hide out forever. So it's like the alien has to come and be in front of the people at some point. But I feel like for me, I've kind of been doing this so long that I realized like, okay, I'm here for the people that really enjoy what I have to offer.
Right,
You
right.
know what I mean? So that's like, that's the alien disclosure and stuff. And whether or not you guys are aliens yourself, or if you are just interested in learning about us aliens, then we invite you to come and listen to Disclosure.
Us aliens. So, speaking of which, then, what's with all the space? What's with the space theme? Period. Because I know you said earlier, all this stems from Native American folklore or some kind of
Well, I think
ancient
it kind of
stuff.
goes with your beats. A lot of the spacey
Okay.
stuff is like it's like some of the stuff is very. It's not like a standard, you know, club trap where it's not like standard boom bap shit. It's kind of different. So that's kind of why I chose the space theme. And
Right.
then the like we said earlier, the previous project, 0 Point Visions, I had the same artist do the cover from that one that did this one, so I wanted to keep the flow going. So yeah, if you saw on the other cover, it looks like me riding the wave and stuff. And so now we're like ascending through this portal and stuff. You know what I mean? And then we dropped the and then it didn't even I didn't even plan it for be this gay this I didn't plan it for being this way, but but we dropped the project on the Lionsgate portal.
Okay. Both times?
No,
Both times?
this
Oh, okay,
one.
okay, okay.
So
No, the other one was in
I thought
November.
about it after. I was like, oh, look at the cover. It's like kind of like going through the little portal and stuff.
Going through the little portal.
Yeah,
Huh.
yeah. So that's pretty much that part of the story.
Well, you would say this part of the album too. These three songs, Champions Blink, Vice Jared, and well, they kind of go into a portal.
And
You kind of slip into it.
Champions, Blink, Vice Jaren, and Los Occidentals. Yeah,
Yeah.
those songs all go together. And yeah, I think that would. I guess you're going through a portal, but it's also like those songs. They're kind of like more. They're more like the harder songs on the project, because I don't think everything's one vibe. It kind of like starts up here, like super vibey, and then it goes down a little bit, like you're going into your feelings, and then you get into the like kind of more like gritty stuff, and that's when I'm like spitting my straight bars, and then it comes back out like outside of the portal back into the nice chill vibes, with the
Mm.
wabi sabi and the journey beyond. Yeah, I feel like it was like kind of a cool little ride that you take on this
It
project.
is,
Yeah,
yeah. 0 Point does the same thing almost.
yeah.
Actually, it kind of loops well. If you,
0 Point seems really cohesive,
yeah,
and it's like yeah, it's all like trippy, and then I feel like it's a little bit more moody than this one to me because it was a lot of
Zero
stuff.
Point. 0 Point was
Yeah,
more moody.
yeah, it was moody for me because it was just like a time in that space where it was like everybody's having to be look at themselves and stuff and be stuck inside, and you know what I mean, and then it's
Oh
like
yeah.
then you have a little bit of inside rage where you're like, okay, you're trying to tell me what to do, motherfucker, what's up, so it has that,
Well, so
that's like energy harvest, You know what
Speak
I
to
mean?
that. Speak to that because these projects came probably post pan or during the pandemic, right? Like we,
Well, this one is after for sure,
this is
but
post
it but
pandemic for sure, but
post, but like still coming out of
during
it.
though, yeah,
But
I
yeah,
mean
the start we
maybe
started it. Yeah, that concept was started it. Yeah, yeah, because I remember when I we were talking about that research and stuff. I found out about Chante Ishta just like working out in my garage and shit downstairs. That's how
what
I found out
just
about Chante Ishta.
what listening to some
Yeah,
or
listen to I do a lot
yeah.
of. If you wanna get deep on the philosophy, the different art, different psychology, astrology, political philosophy. That's kind of what I'm into, yeah, as far as researching stuff like that. Yeah. When I was younger, it was all like conspiracy stuff. Yeah.
Okay, so how do you think that applies to this? Like what when you say conspiracy stuff? I
But
mean,
more probably the other project more than this one.
yeah.
I think 0 Point Vision's more about has more of that involved in it than this one. This one's kind of yeah, it's like I said, it's more of a self examination. It's like yeah, you're having to just release all that stuff that's keeping you in a state of judgment and not really. And I feel like that's something I'm still working on. So like that's one of the things when you have that intention. It's that this album took a lot longer to come out, and I feel like that had something to do with it because I can't just talk about something in music without having to live it myself. So I'm still working on that myself. Taking down my armoring a little bit, you know what I mean? Not being so intense, trying to be more in the flow and stuff. In the flow state, you know what I'm saying? Hey, that's another song. Trying to get into the flow state.
Hey, talk
Hey.
about flow state because there's a few. While I produced the majority of the project,
Yeah.
obviously he produced what 3 songs? What
No, it's just
two? Just the
two songs.
two? Just
Yeah, two
Wabi
songs.
Sabi and
Flow
Flow
state.
State?
But
Is
it's
that it?
like, yeah, because
Is
flow
that
state
true?
is like two songs in one. That's why it might seem like
That's
more.
why. Yeah,
Because
yeah.
that was like
Okay, it's like a part two beat to it.
yeah, flow state was it's like I wrote the song, the lyrics and everything to the song of the second part, and I put it to the first part, and then I realized like I wanted this to flow like an album. So we are on the alien disclosure, and it's like okay, you are not alone. It's like okay, now the aliens came down. You are not alone. So you're
Okay, okay,
California state of flow.
okay.
So that's how I wanted to flow that into that. So I wanted it to be something vibey, not just coming out you like my hand is random and coming with the crazy like barring right off the top because that was like a little bit too much on that beat.
So you're saying
And then
you had to
even when
ease
I
us
and
into
then
it?
oh
You had to
yeah,
like get us into it.
yeah, and then even when I was rhyming that originally on the first beat, I came off too crazy. It was like we were trying to mix it and it was all distorted and stuff. I'm like, dude, I gotta do something else, man.
Right, right.
And then from that, I was like, okay, I'm gonna hit up this dude that played trumpet on one of my Calibri songs, and I wanted to have the little trumpet going to flugelhorn, right? Flugelhorn.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just learned about that yesterday. Flugelhorn, holla at me. But
I gotta
but he.
take this shit.
Oh, go
Oh, my
ahead.
bad.
We can just stop right there.
Yeah, pause it right real quick. This might be my client. Talk about real quick the features on the project.
Oh, okay. So we got you first of all.
Okay, yeah,
Got
of
him
course.
to rap again.
To rap,
Always trying to
yeah.
get my homies to get in the mix. And then for the most part, I keep most of my features with the same in-house talent. But we got Lil MC on there. That's the first. We always wanted to do a song together, so that was she just
She
it just
killed it.
kind of worked at the right time when we wanted to do that song, and that's also like one of the dopest videos that I have. So shout out to Lil MC. She's always grinding, killing it, and yeah, so I'm just blessed to have some dope rappers around, that are willing to work with me and shit. And then, sometimes it's hard to find people to catch these crazy concepts, and she really came with the shit. So really happy how that one came out. You know what I mean? such a different style for me to spit on the beat like that and how I did it. So, and that was just about, um, like a near death experience and stuff, and having to realize that while we, while we don't have a infinite amount of time, that this life right here is just part of our journey in our soul is growing right now. So and then also just like all the judgments and all the stuff you're holding on to, you're not taking those to the grave with you, and all your possessions, and you think that everything that's what matters in life is really not. And what really matters is being able to be there for each other and stuff like that. So that's kind of what that song's about, and we can go further into that. I feel like each one of these songs is like
Yeah.
a book, bro. Like,
For sure, for sure.
not that like it's not too much, but it's like the concepts you can really you can really stretch out and learn a lot from them. And I think that's kind of what I do for myself too, is like I make music where I can come back later and find out what I was trying to get at that point in time. And that's why I do music like this. It's part of learning and coming back and leaving yourself little like nuggets to bring you back to your center, you know what I mean, and your purpose.
Right.
But
right.
yeah, that's about it. Yeah.
Well, shout out Zilla.
Oh yeah, and then
Zilla killed
yeah,
that
we got
shit.
Zilla. He about to pull up. Actually, we're gonna
Oh, dope,
smoke
dope.
one real quick. But yeah, that's just Stems of Wisdom. That's my group. So
Word.
we've been working together since like 2010, but it's been like a long gap between where we're at now and then where we started, and then so that I that's another one of the things, like only certain people can catch a beat like that, and he's one that he's not afraid to try different shit, and that's why I've always fucked with Zilla, because he's not like trying to do the same thing that everybody else is doing. Like he's down to jump on some crazy electronic shit or whatever. And then, some people just can't get out of their regular comfort in their pocket because
Yeah.
for whatever reason, that's just everybody gets a choice. I'm just like unconventional that way. I just do weird shit. Yeah. Yeah. So,
Dope, man. Well, check it out. Chante Ishta, Taste Nate, Tai The 13th. Hey, this man killed it. The project's amazing. It's a journey and it's vibes. So just check it out. Peace.
much love, y'all.